All right, so this is my most controversial video yet. You're going to want to pay attention to this, whether you agree with what I'm about to say or you disagree vehemently. I want you to watch this video because what we're going to be talking about today is how to make money as an insurance agency, even with 95% plus of your agents failing. Again, as we get started here, it's very important that you understand I am not saying I agree with all these tactics that I'm about to discuss with you. I'm just simply sharing with you what I have seen many agencies do over the past 10 plus years of building my own agency as a way to monetize the process of their business, even with a largely fledgling or failing agency full of failing agents. Yeah, take notes, at least for anything. Just you'll learn something. And again, I don't agree with all this stuff. I hope that I'm not justifying it or anything like that. I just like to share this stuff so you know what's out there and so you can consider it for your business. My name is David Dufour, Insurance Agency Builders. I have nothing to sell you. I'm not trying to recruit you. I don't even recruit agency owners. The purpose of this video is very simple. It's just to provide information that I've learned through my 10 plus years building a successful valuation, 8-figure valuation agency, really since 2013, and to pay it forward and to hopefully help out those of you out there that want to build something great like I have, but avoid all the travails along the way. So let's get started. Okay, so how do you make money if your agencies don't? Let me explain to you what I mean by that. So what's the way that we monetize in an agency situation, right? We recruit agents to sell insurance and we make an override, right? That is how an agency traditionally and classically makes its money. That's how we make 99% of our money at the Ford Insurance Group. But the thing is that a lot of agencies, especially on the corporate side, especially those on the mass marketing side, they realize most people fail. And you could argue, and this is or maybe for another video, you could argue that the failure is going to happen anyway, or that they're just planning for the reality that most human beings are not going to have what it takes. And they're building another system into it to monetize on that process of, even though if someone fails, they can be successful. In a sense, this is the definition of a multi-level marketing company. And I think you'd be probably right that even with people who aren't successful, the top of the pack wins. But regardless, again, that's not my point here today. It's just to share these things with you so that you can understand how it's done and how you could implement some of this if you even do, or if you don't, like what I do. Okay, so the first way is upfront fees to join. So a lot of organizations, especially the corporate ones, the larger ones, they have some sort of fee to join. Again, I'm not going to name names because I'll get a cease and desist, not to take this valuable video down. But there are 3-letter IMOs that recruit that have one dude sold his agency recently, has a multi-million plus podcast on YouTube. They required their agents to pay $100, $200 sign-on fee. So right then and there, if you're recruiting 5,000 agents a month into your organization, no one his numbers were, and it's $200, that's, I think, $100,000 in just free and clear income to the said agency. So there is a sign-on fee. And I liken this to kind of crony capitalism, right? This is like a doc fee. What is that on a car sale, right? Just some erroneous fee to just charge somebody for. It's stupid, it's pointless, but it is a way to make money up front for the process of dealing with these people and onboarding them, knowing a lot of them will fail. Number 2 is not letting your agents own their book of business. Now, there are completely reasonable reasons to do this. Maybe you're lead financing them. Maybe you are providing leads for free to them. And we know there is an intrinsic risk to lead financing. They may not pay it back. There's an intrinsic risk to giving them free leads. They may not actually sell anything, and you risk losing the opportunity to close those leads. So not offering full vestation for a period of time allows you to monetize and control the cash flows from those book of business, of which maybe we hope that they write something, and to make money in a way that even if they fail, you still keep some of it, right? Because some of the failures in this business, some of them write business and then fail out after a couple months. And this is a way to realize the earnings that you otherwise wouldn't have if they were fully vested. Again, makes more sense to me if you're providing your leads for free or if you're lead financing, because there's an upfront cost to you, a credit risk to you, and this is a way to mitigate against that. Number 3, you could do recruit bird dogging. Again, a lot of these large Very large MLMs do this. They recruit people to recruit. You can send somebody out there to who's interested in your organization and make it a part of the process that if they join, they have to go find 5 to 10 people to do an introduction to you, and then you sell them a policy. Again, I don't like that. I'd rather have that agent I recruit trained to sell, to then sell them people. I make a little override off of it, but they make good money. But you could turn them people basically into lead generators. There's, again, 3-letter MLMs out there that do exactly this, and they turn their prospects into other prospects that are referral based that they make a ton of money on and basically squeeze their network out to make sales off of them. Number 4, and again, another strategy used by several IMOs, especially the big recruiting ones, is they turn old leads into gold. So for example, there are many organizations that over the years have dropped direct mail, Facebook leads, that kind of thing. And instead of just selling them once, they realize, hey, a lot of these agents don't actually sell anything. And there are people who buy leads never actually go work. And so we're going to turn this whole thing into a hierarchy based off of the age and the amount of times the lead was purchased, and then basically have an inventory of leads that we've bought that we can resell over and over again. And it serves a multitude of purposes. Number 1, there's always an option to buy leads. Granted, they may be used and abused and years old, but they're leads nonetheless. And if you can influence the agent's mindset appropriately, a lead is a lead is a lead, as many times is said. You can convince a lot of those people just to buy them with full conviction that they're no different than a fresh lead, which again, I don't agree with that, but that is done every single day with many MLMs. The other side that it does is it provides a way to monetize a lead more than once, and to do it in a way that doesn't add additional costs. And this is really where the benefit comes in, is you get to turn what may be break even or a slight profit margin on the upfront into a cash cow. So if you acquire a direct mail lead, say for final expense, the wholesale cost or whatever cost you paid was an average of $35, and you resell it once at $40, well, you've made $5 on that. But then you've got a hierarchy of, after 15 days, it becomes a B lead. After 30 days, it becomes a C lead. If it's sold once, it turns into the sold pile, and then there's different profit margins. If you sell this thing an average of 5, if the average lead gets sold 5 times, and let's say the total profit derived or total revenue derived is $100, well, you've turned the process of generating leads into a profit margin that has a return on investment, of this case, almost 3 to 1. So it behooves you to not do this. So you turn this business model into a profit margin. So the act of generating leads for agents isn't something that is, an expense. It's a business model. And so you can do this over and over again with old leads. It just also requires you to do mass recruiting, right? Because you got to keep feeding new people into the process, recruiting them on this idea. And think about it. If you're making, if your average lead is, I'm trying to give you a number here. If you sell 100,000 leads a year, which is probably on the low side for some of these business models, and you've got a 3 to 1 return on investment, that's $200,000 in net income. It's probably a lot higher than that, but it can add right to the direct bottom line without a lot of operational cost. You can set up systems to distribute these leads. It's very low cost to manage the process, and it serves both you getting money up front, turning it into a profit center, but also providing leads to agents who are brand new that maybe don't even have the money to buy leads to the appropriate amount. Number 5 here, again, another very large MLM has done this as well, and this is turning data into leads. Same concept, but much more powerful, much more profitable too. It's the idea of taking some of these leads that are generated maybe through surveys, having a base level of interest to like win a free iPad or something like that, and then getting their opt-in information to call them, generating that for $0.25 to 50 cents a piece, and then upselling it for $10, and then reselling it 3, 4, 5 times. This is like the age lead program on steroids. If your average lead gets sold 4 times at a price point of $10, that's $40. And if that acquisition cost was just 50 cents, you're clearing $39.50 over the course of that lead for the next year. And if you do that to the tune of selling 5 million of these a year, that's a lot of money. And there are agencies that are doing this, very big ones. that are saying that this data, a glorified cold call, it's not very good quality, of course, that's the point, and they're upselling it for such a huge amount, it is a business in and of itself. And all it takes is the agency owner being able to convince their agents that these are quality leads. And many people will just do what they're told because they don't know any different. Number 6, sell courses, tickets to events. So this is what you see a lot of the times too. Again, how can we monetize outside of the sale of an insurance policy? Well, sell them a ticket to a course, sell them merchandise, sell them a ticket to an event, right? Have an ascension model of selling stuff and mentorships and mindset stuff to sell people into in addition, and you can create a whole business model out of that. Number 7, build deep downlines. Again, this is why the MLM, I believe the MLM model functions where, you know, in most MLMs, there's the top of the food chain, and then you've got maybe 2 or 3 to 5 people right beneath them, and then all of them have their trails and agents. And what happens is if you're at the top of the food chain, your ability or the likelihood that you're going to absorb some enormous roll-up from a chargeback is so low, because if you have this depth in roll-up, somebody somewhere is going to take the chargebacks and basically start paying them back. So you have these layers of protection, this shield, these barriers between the ability to absorb chargebacks. Now you'll get chargebacks on your portion of the commission earned, but you won't get the roll-up debt. And part of making the most money, even though a lot of agents fail, is having these layers of depth to protect you from the losses of recruiting bad agents and having others in the system absorb them, so it ultimately affects and improves your profit. And then 8, last one on the list here, is the window dress commission level. So this is stuff that I've seen, and you can tell I'm sharing this with you. I'm not very objective here. I mean, some of this just kind of like stupid and borderline unethical. But you can window dress commissions. A couple of ways I've seen. One agency, they would say they have the ABC 100 commission level. And then it's really like one product that's 100, the rest are like 70 and 80%, right? So there's a misrepresentation when it's verbally transferred to the agent of what they're getting. And yes, the particular company in question has the grids out there, but the agents don't do a good job of representing it. They don't require them to review it, sign off on it, making sure they understand it. So there's a lot of confusion on what compensation there is, and it's a routine mistake that I see in an area of point of frustration when we're recruiting people from said organization. There's another agency out there that the way that they compete now is they do this whole line of authority model where instead of the agent getting paid, the carrier gets paid, but then from there, they assign commission levels of a commission. And here's the thing, agents don't understand math. Unfortunately, the American public sucks at math, right? And so a lot of these agency owners who don't have any sort of reservations will take advantage of it. So you could be on 100% commission level, or you can be at 100% commission level at the 80% commission level. So what are you making? You're making 80%, right? So you could be you're at the 55 level, but you're at the 90% level. You're at a 90% level at the 55 level. So what are you making 90%? No, you're making 90% of 55%, which is like about 50%. So they use this kind of convoluted math to make it sound like, because a lot of people are hearing about all these high commissions, that you got really high commission. You're at 120% of 55%. You're at 120% level. What are you talking about? And people, their agents are like, oh, that's great, right? It's the same as this other one, right? And these guys are laughing all the way to the bank. So hopefully you see what I'm saying here. This is a way to convolute the commission stuff that will deceive a lot of people who just frankly aren't good at math. So I told you that we would be talking about some stuff that was crony capitalism, I think is a good way to put at it. Some questionable things, some maybe not so much questionable, just depends on the circumstances. But a lot of the stuff, this is what I've learned that a lot of these organizations do. And there is maybe a case to be made about monetizing your interactions with the agents. For example, what we decided to do about maybe in 2022 is we require a lead deposit up front for agents who are getting leads, who are buying their own leads. And the reason we do that is because we do not want to take someone on a verbal promise they're going to buy. We've seen too often that there will be agents come in saying they can't wait to get started, drain your resources, your trainer's time, your upline's time, just to say, no, I'm not going to do it. And what I found instead is if I can get their money up front on a deposit, which will 100% refund if they buy leads and show proof in the next 30 days, then I filter out all the weak hands because they have to now make a decision, are they really going to invest themselves? And even at the $500 level, where we want our agents spending closer to $1,000 a week, this is a serious point of decision that if they can't go overcome that, well, then they're not going to buy leads later. And I'd rather take care of the weak hands now than later and frustrate my team in the process. So, and we don't give the money back, and that's the key thing. If they buy into the lead deposit and they don't buy leads, we don't give the money back because they've wasted our resources. They've gotten started, they've trained, they did this and that, and they won't do it. Well, now if they come back and it's a month or two later, we'll give it back to them. But the people just disappear and quit. Sorry, that's the cost of admission. You deposited this because you made the decision you're going to invest in yourself. Now you're changing that. Don't get it back. So I feel good about that because it serves a purpose and people know what to expect up front. And that's the key thing with any of this stuff, I think, is being upfront about it. The more transparent you are, the better. But I mean, obviously there's some stuff here that, you know, you don't have to be transparent about. If you were, you couldn't pull this stuff on some people. So anyways, okay, that's it for what we're here to talk about today. I just want to give you this information so you can see how it works and kind of see what goes on with these agencies and how they monetize. Hope you learned something. Check out David DeFord, no, not DavidDeFord.com. I'm not recruiting you. InsuranceAgencyBuilders.com. I got some free stuff there for you if you'd like to check it out. It should be useful and helpful. And make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And thanks for watching. See ya.